2 for 1. Right back at it. Just like that. You're like, yo, I thought you left. Yep, I did. For every action, there's a reaction, right? So when I was getting off of my last live, hey, it could have been innocent. It could have been innocent, where it looked like they wasn't about to let the live end. Something interfered. This is the first time this ever happened to me, by the way. While I go to end the live, and it said an error occurred, and then the next thing you know, it looked like it was about to be an issue with the show. That triggered me to say, you know what? I'm doing another show right now. You don't want to show all the information I gave out just now? This never happened to me before. I'll do another show. When I go to set up for the new show, all of a sudden now they want to allow me to end the show properly. But if I would have not, mind you, they didn't give me no warning saying, yo, you can't play the audio. They didn't give me no strike. They didn't, none of that. But hey, it could have been an innocent glitch in the system. It's never happened before, but there's always a first time for everything. Let's try to keep a balanced perspective here. However, I was already reacting to it and said, immediately I go to do another show now. Because the last show was very informative. And not only was it informative, but I actually articulated things in a very comprehensive way. So now we start show 2. And mind you, I do not care how many people watch this. It will be in my portfolio for the people who come over to the channel and they want to learn and they want to hear things. This information is not for everybody. Do not give pearls to swine. You understand? I'm not out here asking people to hit the like button on these shows, because he who have ears, let him hear. If you listening to this, you're supposed to be here right now. And if not, you're not supposed to be here. That's it. I don't care if it says 0 people watching. I do not care. Now, let's go ahead and start the show. New information.
Nine. After the flood. According to Edgar Casey, the migration of the Children of the Law of One from Atlantis to Egypt occurred about 10,500 BCE.
Children of the Law of One. I don't know what they meant back then. I don't know. But what I do know is when you go into universal law, the first law itself is the law of oneness, right? Could this have anything to do with that dark matter, which I don't like to call dark matter because it gives your brain and your mind this interpretation of something that is negative, but in all actuality, they don't understand it. So I would rather verbalize it that way. So if they call it dark matter, I would say the unknown matter. Those are 2 different interpretations right there that hit you differently. If I say dark matter, if I say unknown matter. When I say unknown matter, your mind opens up the possibilities of matters that we don't understand. Mind you, in the 90th percentile of matter. There's a 90th percentile of what they call dark matter, which is not dark. They call it dark because we don't understand it. Besides the fact that it does not absorb light and it doesn't react to atoms the same way. Allegedly. This is all theory too. You need to keep that in mind. However, what I'm trying to get across to you is that there apparently the one thing that we can agree on, whether it be agnostic or scientific, is that there's an entity down here that we have not identified yet. That is the one thing. And some of it is calling it, some people call it dark matter, right? But is this the one energy or the one entity down here that is vibrating at different frequencies that create all that we see in the pool? We don't know.
It was led by the white magicians, who had learned from occult sources that the continent was going to sink beneath the ocean. The black magicians did not get this warning, and so they perished in the deluge. Casey does not mention how these people made the journey. It was not a long distance. It was just necessary to cross over the narrow North Atlantic current, and then traverse North Africa to the headwaters of the Nile. But they did not have to sail and walk. More than likely, they had anti-gravity aerial transportation, which was commonly used in Atlantis at that time. So they probably arrived in spaceships. There was a community of humans in Egypt at that time, since they originated nearby in Mesopotamia about 30,000 years previously, and it is very likely that they had spread by then to the Nile Valley. One can imagine how awestruck the humans must have been to watch these metallic vessels, seemingly from heaven, disgorge these tall, shining beings. Certainly, they would have worshipped them as gods. The god of magic. Perhaps the most important priest leading the colonization was Thoth, known to the Greeks as Hermes Trismegistus. Thoth was later known as the god of magic and of writing, and was represented on monuments with the head of an ibis in
The god of writing. Which brings me back to, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I just associate certain things with certain, you know what I'm saying? There's a correlation between things, but we'll get there later on.
place of a human head, and sometimes that of a baboon. Thoth was a great scientist and mathematician, and is credited with the planning and building of the Great Pyramid of Giza. It should be realized that this early cohort of settlers in Egypt were all descended from the Atlans, the original founders of Atlantis, and consequently they did not have the reptilian brain. Thoth was also the architect of the Sphinx. Both the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx are now believed to have been built around 10,000 BCE. In a later Egyptian period, Thoth was also considered to be the god of measurement, thus testifying to his role in building the Great Pyramid. Author John Anthony West and Yale-educated geologist Robert Schoch have made a solid case for their proposition that the Sphinx was created around 10,000 BCE, based on the water erosion traces on its base. In addition, the 200-ton blocks in the wall in the Valley Temple in the Sphinx complex testify to its creation by an advanced technology that could move such huge blocks. Some of these blocks have been lifted to a height of 40 feet, much higher than the 50-ton blocks at Stonehenge. The Atlanteans had that technology, based on sound, as did the reptilians. Once the blocks were carved out, they could be floated on air to the construction site by directed sound waves. West showed that there was only one crane in the entire world today that could have lifted such a weight. As previously discussed, the reptilians had a sound weapon mounted on their Death Star that could emit sound waves that caused buildings to crumble and that could lift enormous weights. The Atlans had similar weapons. Another building, obviously much older than originally believed, is the Osirian at Abydos. It is part of the Temple of Seti I, but is underground and displays a very different architecture and construction technique than the temple proper. Some of the stones in the wall are estimated to be about 100 tons. West and Schock both believe it was built contemporaneously with the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid, dating it to about 10,000 BCE. Clearly, there was an advanced civilization inhabiting the Nile Valley at that time. Most of it is now buried under the sands of time, with the exception of these three remarkable structures. This civilization apparently sprang into existence literally overnight, since there is no evidence of a preceding primitive settlement. The only explanation for the arrival of such a high-tech colony in the Nile Valley at that time is that it had originated from an equally high-tech civilization on Atlantis. Without father, without mother. This sudden appearance of such a high culture in Egypt, without having developed from a primitive society, is discussed in Atlantis, the Antediluvian World by Ignatius Donnelly. He says, Renan says, it has no archaic epoch. Osborne says, it bursts upon us at once in the flower of its highest perfection. Joseph Seiss says, in A Miracle in Stone, it suddenly takes its place in the world in all its matchless magnificence, without father, without mother, and as clean apart from all evolution as if it had dropped from the unknown heavens. It had dropped from Atlantis. George Rawlinson says, in The Origin of Nations, now in Egypt, it is notorious that there is no indication of any period of savagery or barbarism. All the authorities agree that however far back we go, we find in Egypt no rude or uncivilized time out of which civilization is developed.
True.
Menes, the first king, changes the course of the Nile, makes a great reservoir, and builds the Temple of Ptah at Memphis. In Egypt, we have the oldest of the Old World children of Atlantis. In her magnificence, we have a testimony to the development attained by the parent country. By that country, whose kings were the gods of succeeding nations, and whose kingdom extended to the uttermost ends of the earth. Egypt's arts, crafts, and sciences were highly developed right from the beginning. Donnelly says, they had clocks and dials for measuring time. They possessed gold and silver money. They were the first agriculturalists of the Old World, raising all the cereals, cattle, horses, sheep, etc.
That might be cap. I want to push back on that a little bit. When you call the old world, how old is the old world? Because King Hammurabi, he developed systems. They had agriculture. They had agrarian systems. They had plumbing. They had plenty of things. So how far back is this old world that you're talking to? So you just can't say things and no one push back. See what's going on in the comment section. Okay. We got Big TTV in the building. Shout it out, Big TTV. We got Chris I want to say this right. Leva. Chris Leva. Chris Leva comes in and he says he wants to know the topic. Then he says, do you think the New World Order is in progress? Yeah, that would be a simple yes. The simulation is getting hectic. The simulation is getting hectic. We are listening about Atlantis and Thoth. Big TTV answers his question. Chris Leva says, my honest thoughts in where in the world are the Atlantis civilizations? Oh, you've probably missed my last two shows, Chris. They have sunken. But you've heard of this. Chris, you know where they're at. You knew the answer before you asked. Now, did you mean the people? Is that what you meant? We got my boy Lee Mickles in the building. Chris, Chris says, I'm just making sure you're on point. Yeah. But we did like 2 other shows before this one, Chris. So we almost done, to be honest with you. So with this particular topic, as far as the Atlantis, we're not done with the Atlanteans by far, because I kind of started in the middle. So we're gonna, after this, we're gonna go pre and kind of figure out how they even got to Earth, right? I know we started a little bit and talked about it a little bit, but we'll talk about that in even more depth. So let's keep listening. And one of the points I want to make as we're listening is how much Egypt influenced the main religions we have today. How much Egypt influenced the main religions we have today. I don't have religion. The reason I don't have religion is I feel they're very dogmatic, number one. Number two is that they don't really teach me the true knowledge in history, right? It appears that I have discovered that this knowledge was taken from previous civilizations that were suppressed from the public knowledge. So right there, those are red flags for me, right? One, what is this previous civilization that no one is talking about? Two, why is it that this previous civilization has stories that sound very similar to your stories, but you're not telling me about these previous civilizations? Three, why is the translation not even consistent? So if in fact, because we know that the way the story goes, that these Jewish people were abducted by Assyrians and Babylonians for hundreds of years and captured, and we know that the other civilizations may have influenced these Jewish people, their history, right? So maybe when they were eventually let go by the Persians and told they can go back to where they want to, after hundreds of years in captivity, their stories started to mesh with the stories that they learned under captivity of the Babylonians and the Assyrians. Right? We get this. We understand this. But before we even get there, who are you people? You understand? Is this a made-up people? Is this a made-up people from Akhenaten IV who left Egypt because the priest wasn't having it? We're not going back to your way of life, bro. We're not going back to your way of life. I'm the captain now, and we're going to run Egypt like this because it's more beneficial to the priesthood, and we getting this money. And whatever you got going on, that's yesterday. Did he leave and create a whole new people and religion? and take the story of Moses, which was already out there, and rewrite it? We'll find out. We'll find out. But is it, again, going back to why I feel like this chapter that we're listening to right now is important, is because I believe that Egypt had a profound influence on the creation of the world dogmatic religions, because you can't trust a human. They always want to be on top. They always want to shine. They always want to control.
They manufactured linen of so fine a quality that in the days of King Amasis, 600 years BC, a single thread of a garment was composed of 365 minor threads. They worked in gold, silver, copper, bronze, and iron. They tempered iron to the hardness of steel. They were the first chemists. The word chemistry comes from chemi, and chemi means Egypt. They manufactured glass and all kinds of pottery. They made boats out of earthenware. Their dentists filled teeth with gold. Their farmers hatched poultry by artificial heat. They were the first musicians. They possessed guitars, single and double pipes, cymbals, drums, lyres, harps, flutes, the sambric, asher, etc. They even had castanets, such as are now used in Spain. In medicine and surgery, they had reached such a degree of perfection that several hundred years BC, the operation for the removal of a cataract from the eye was performed among them, one of the most delicate and difficult feats of surgery, only attempted by us in recent times. Donnelly says further, they were the first mathematicians of the Old World. Those Greeks whom we regard as the fathers of mathematics were simply pupils of Egypt.
Let's stop right there. Let's stop. Let's take it easy. One time I had a guy on the show. He came and he was really proud of his country, Greek, right? And if I could follow what he was saying correctly, it's kind of like the Greeks taught the Africans everything, that is not how the story goes at all. And I just had used one example of just one of their teachers called Pythagoras, who had waited outside of an African school, which was in Egypt because Egypt is in Africa. But I purposely say Africa not to be racist or anything that has to do so much with the black man. And there's nothing about that, but to whitewash it away. I don't like when things get whitewashed, right? So what I've noticed is that over the decades, they've tried to separate Egypt from Africa. Why? I don't know. And I think that is dishonest and disgenuine. So, whenever I do talk, I make it a point to remind people that Egypt is Africa. What are we even talking about right here? Nonetheless, growing up, I've seen a lot of melanated people, the dark-skinned people, right, which some of us call the Negroes. They go to the schools, the universities, and they join these Greek fraternities. And they're very proud. And I'm not here to tell you not to be proud. Right? And the women join the sororities, and the men, they join the fraternities. And then they have their network that they're going to rely on in life. It's a system. I understand it. But the one thing is, I said, why would the black man have to join a Greek fraternity with there was blacks in Greek back then. Don't get it twisted. But these modern teachings of Greek, they're not teaching you of the black people of Greek. They're teaching of the Caucasian people of Greek. Not to be racist, right? Again, it's not like I see a bunch of white kids that can't wait to get. I mean, you got hip hop, but hip hop is not a black culture, it is an urban culture. So we go to the schools and we give reverence to the Greeks. So my thought process was, whoa, they may not know the history. They may not even know that these Greeks was reverencing the Africans. You see, take away your history and you won't know what's going on. I've never been interested in joining a Greek fraternity. I agree with you, Chris. I've never been interested. Once I learned the history, right? And it's nothing racist, but it's the same. It's the same reason I'm not a Christian or Muslim or Jew. Does it mean that I cannot learn things from these religions? That's not what it means. I do open my books of all three books. Sometimes I'm listening to the Quran, sometimes I'm listening to the Torah, sometimes I'm listening, but I know I'm not getting involved in this dogmatic system here, right? I'm able to discern the wisdoms and the intellect within the book. So that's what we call today of not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. No, I may need to go in and grab some juice for my life to carry on throughout the day. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't want you to take this as a racist, oh, you can't follow. No, I can give props to the Greeks or any other Caucasian that deserve it. I'm not a race. I'm not some type of prejudiced bigamist. But what I'm witnessing don't make sense that you would honor the Greeks and hold them to up here if they was honoring the Africans and holding them up to up here. You know how long Pythagoras waited outside to learn outside the African school? He waited 1 year. 1 year he waited outside of an African school so that he can learn. Now, you give him his props because he goes back and then he expounds on what he learned, right? He takes what he learns to the next level and then gives it to his people. But those who know do know, right? It's kind of like, why would I, nothing to be about being prejudiced, but why would I celebrate Pythagoras when I could celebrate Imhotep? You understand what I'm saying? Yes, the Pythagorean theory. That is from this same Pythagoras. So we give reverence to him, but he had to learn. But what he had learned within the secret society. So I do understand. Why you didn't give the acknowledgement to where he learned it from? He learned it within a secret society. This is true. But let's give acknowledgement to, if we can't give it to the secret society, let's at least acknowledge the secret societies where they were at, where they were located. Because that part y'all do know. That part, they know where the secret societies were located. They know that part. And don't let them throw you off where they were all over the place. We ain't talking about all over the place, and you know that. We're talking about the main centers. And the main centers was at the north of Africa. Knock it off.
They were the first land surveyors. They were the first astronomers, calculating eclipses and watching the periods of planets and constellations. They knew the rotundity of the Earth, which it was supposed Columbus had discovered. Regarding their treatment of women and their corresponding social mores, he says, monogamy was the strict rule. Not even the kings in the early days were allowed to have more than one wife. The wife's rights of separate property and her dower were protected by law. She was the lady of the house. She could buy, sell, and trade on her own account. In case of divorce, her dowry was to be repaid to her, with interest at a high rate. The marriage ceremony embraced an oath not to contract any other matrimonial alliance. The wife's status was as high in the earliest days of Egypt as it is now in the most civilized nations of Europe or America. And of course, there is their amazing architecture and statuary, looming up from the desert floor, unequaled by anything remotely comparable at that distant epoch. The Temple of Karnak can contain the entire Notre Dame Cathedral, and the 60-foot statues of the pharaohs carved into the rock guarding the Temple of Ramses at Abu Simbel were magnificent works of art on a massive scale. To this day, nobody can understand how they were able to erect such huge obelisks, all carved in one piece of stone, now standing in cities all over the world. All of these marvels in stone in Egypt were meant to show the world the magnificence of the country that created them, the amazing prehistoric kingdom that now lies beneath the waves of the Atlantic. Greece and Rome. Swerdlow tells us that Greece also became a colony of Atlantis around 10,000 BCE prior to the deluge. He says, this was an original colony that was at war with Atlantis, similar to a civil war.
Let's stop right there. So, is it possible that Greek was also a initiate of Atlantis? I would say, in my opinion, if I had to take a guess, I would be like, yeah. Because even the position of where they say Atlantis was at in Greek, it do make sense that you would be affected by it. Even if they didn't directly, you know what I'm saying, allow you in. Even if you're still going to be affected by Atlantis. But I do believe it was probably one of the original states governed by Atlantis. But I wasn't there, right? Now we're doing true speculation. I wasn't there. I'm just going off of my logic and my reason what could have happened. You know, the distance between, if Egypt was colonized by the Atlanteans, then it just would kind of make sense, given the distance, that the possibility of the Greeks being heavily populated by some Atlanteans would make sense to me. But let's let him finish cooking.
The Atlanteans sent armies against Greece because it was trying to break away, resulting in the various nation-states of Sparta, Athens, Macedonia, etc. Plato speaks of this war between Atlantis and Athens in the dialogues of the Critias in Timaeus, written around 400 BCE, now extracted and combined into one book titled The Atlantis Dialogue, with the original translation by B. Jowett. In this dialogue, Critias original translation by B. Jowett. In this dialogue, Critias quotes the conversation between Solon, the Athenian lawgiver, and the Egyptian priest of Sais when Solon visited Egypt. Now, in this island of Atlantis, there was a great and wonderful empire, which had rule over the whole island and several others, and over parts of the continent. This vast power, gathered into one, endeavored to subdue at a blow our country, Egypt, and yours, Athens, and the whole of the region within the straits. And then, Solon, your country shone forth, in the excellence of her virtue and strength among all mankind. She was preeminent in courage and military skill, and was the leader of the Hellenes. And when the rest fell off from her, being compelled to stand alone, after having undergone the very extremity of danger, she defeated and triumphed over the invaders, and preserved from slavery those who were not yet subjugated, and generously liberated all the rest of us who dwell within the pillars of Hercules. According to Swerdlow,
Hey, Boondocks. What I do sometimes is I leave an opening, right? So I know what I believe and what I've read, but I leave that opening for people to walk through, right? So I believe what you believe, Boondocks. On that right there, right? We may later disagree down the line, but on what you wrote so far, I agree. I agree. But I do enjoy a good dialogue and discourse. And if someone has something other than information, like Rene Descartes has said, I'd leave an agile mindset to accept new information. Because when you become so stoic, it would drive you crazy. And not only drive you crazy, but it is actually not a safe way of learning. Because you're here on earth, but you will always learn. Always new stuff. Like, you don't know everything. We don't know everything. We're always learning. Within this learning, we're learning how much we don't know. Never mind what we're learning. We're learning, damn. I'm almost 50 and the amount of stuff I don't know is crazy. So I move accordingly, right? I've just learned to humble my way like that. I know, and I won't put it on everybody. You know, I leave that, like I said, I leave the doorway open for a reason. Because someone may walk through and they say, yo, this, that, and the third. And then now we in the debate, which I don't mind because I'm going to bring my information. They're going to bring theirs. If they don't bring theirs, guess who won that debate? So I like what you said. Right? That leaves the room for somebody else to come and say, no, the Greeks was like, right? They like the dude that popped out before, and he was saying, I guess he was trying to say the Greeks taught the Africans everything, which it sounds preposterous. Show and prove. Even if the Egyptians did not build the monuments, the fact that those monuments are in that geographic area that we call Kemet, we kind of draw the conclusion that this must have been a major center of civilization, because the things in the monuments here resemble something advanced. Something advanced. Can we find this same stable advancement in Greek that equals this, that rivals this? If we can't, then probably what you say is you're going to have a hard time getting me to be convinced that you taught the Africans anything. Am I making sense? How they more advanced, and then you come and say we taught them everything. What are you talking about? Apparently they have been way more advanced than you. Show and prove. But a lot of people, they like to move off the emotions of things, so we allow them to do so, right? But if all you came armed with was your emotions, you probably barking up the wrong tree.
Greece spread across the Asian continent and all the way to Persia. At one time, Greece went as far west as Spain.
You see? That's why I said always leave room for new information. Because just when you thought Greece was small, then you find out, oh, at one point, Greece was way bigger than it was. And you may be going off of information that you don't know. It is always safer to realize there are some things you may not know, and this is the opportunity to go back and do the research yourself.
Over 30 Greek city-states, with approximately 90 colonies, existed in the Mediterranean. Greek colonies were established along the coast of southern France, Corsica, Sardinia, Sicily, southern Italy, Crete, throughout the Black Sea, Cyprus, Turkey, the Middle East, Syria, and even Egypt. The Greeks were one of the first people in ancient Israel and occupied Jerusalem. They brought the Hellenistic way of life with them. The Hellenistic way of life was really the Atlantean way of life. Like the Egyptians, the Grecians also had no barbaric period. They existed as a high civilization right from their origins, as testified by the writings of Homer. The Etruscan civilization in northern Italy developed from a Greek colony. The Etruscans, with a highly disciplined military, eventually conquered the other Greek settlements centered around Rome. The Romans essentially organized the Greek colonies under Roman rule. Rome was able to conquer the people in all the Greek colonies because they were already civilized, spoke similar dialects, and were therefore easy to absorb. Thus, a loose conglomerate of Greek city-states under Etruscan organization became the Roman Empire. This means that the entire early Roman Empire was directly descended from Atlantis.
Exactly, Lee.
Sumer. According to Swerdlow, the Sumerian society appeared almost overnight, around 5000 BCE, as a fully developed high human civilization in what is now southern Iraq in Kuwait. As with Egypt, there was no primitive period in Sumer that slowly developed into an advanced era. This is consonant with his claim that it was based on a settlement of Martians, who were really refugees from Lyra. They had first settled on the surface of Mars, but then were forced to go underground after the reptilian ice comet attack had stripped off much of the Martian atmosphere. Tired of living underground and having spacefaring technology, they moved to Earth and colonized.
Let's deal with that enigma, because there's much to unfold there in what he is saying. It doesn't mean that it's not true, but it means that the geographic what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to be stubborn and wait for the word I'm looking for. So I'll move on. It'll come to me later. But he said that he dates Sumer back to 5,000 BCE. But he dates the Egypt back to 10,000 BCE. Right? He dates the monuments in Egypt. It's not that he so much dates Egypt back to (10,000 BEC), right? It is important to consider maybe the monuments were built. And at that time, this wasn't necessarily Kemet or definitely not Egypt. You understand? We have to remember that Egypt is the Greek term for Kemet. So it wouldn't have been Egypt, now would it? So it doesn't mean that that's not true. But were these the same people, right? We cannot. Again, I believe the people that are taking a lot of credit for Egypt were only merely inheritors of Egypt. It's not like they had anything to do with the founding of it at all, or the building of these monuments at all. But it is real easy to have a conversation when you're mentioning Thutmose III and Akhenaten, and then Imhotep and then Thoth, right? Because in our heads, they all come from the same place. But what we not knowing is, how old is Thoth compared to Akhenaten? If Thoth is considered a god, right? How old is this Hermes Trismegistus compared to Akhenaten? So we talk about two different dispensations already that could have major time span differences. We're not talking about 4,000 BCE. So to say that, okay, the Sumerians popped up in 5,000 BCE, I don't say, okay, that's the wrong date, this, that, and the third, because no. It could be the right date for all I know. It sounds about right, on point. What I do know is that something didn't want us to know about the ancient Sumerians at all. Something didn't want us to really understand or gravitate towards the Mesopotamian religions and understand them at all. Because that would have been the key to unlocking more of the ignorance that we were subjugated to and relegated to. Let me let him finish cooking. Let me let him finish cooking. But shout out to everybody that's in the building. You understand? If you're here, you're supposed to be here. You understand? We're not really giving pearls to swine. I'm not giving pearls to swine. So I'm not really asking everybody to. I don't need 1,000 people in the room. If you're here, you're supposed to be here if you're listening. You understand? What is someone going to do with this knowledge that don't supposed to have this knowledge? You understand? Come in here and troll us. And we here. We feel the energy. Intellectuals amongst intellectuals having a decent conversations. Right? So there's no need to ask everybody to hit the like button or just so that we can get trolls in here and throw us off of our energy. We don't need it. You understand? We good. We're enjoying the conversation. We're appreciating the conversation. We're appreciating the energy amongst each other.
As Sumer. More than likely, they were encouraged to make that change by the Federation, which was assembling a population of Lyran expatriates on the Earth to suppress the reptilians. Some of the Sumerian clay tablets do clearly show spaceships, as well as the correct planetary configuration of the solar system, which knowledge could only have been obtained through space travel.
Mm-hmm.
The Sumerians had a complicated language and left behind.
I mean, some stuff could have only happened. Come on, man. There's some stuff that we cannot explain. And if you want me to honestly think that some primitive natives drew lines in the earth that exist right now, but you can only see them from up above, with their bare hands and some rocks and primitive tools in the shape of monkeys and in the shape of crabs, in the shape of all these animals and all these nozzle lines, and it's kind of like, nah, bro, that happened from up above. And if I had to take a guess, somebody used the laser to create that image. And furthermore, the description of geolocations past the stratosphere of this planet, the accurate description, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say you had to have the tools to do so, and you had to have been a serious mathematician. But I do think there was flight taking place from this planet to others. And besides, this is not a new concept, right? Not even only in the Asia or African stories, but also with the India Vedas. Those documents discuss flying objects and wars in the sky and a lot of advanced technology.
Hundreds of thousands of texts inscribed.
Why they don't have cartoons teaching us about the true history? Are there Indian cartoons about the Vedas? I mean, it's a lot of stories right there. And if there are, why haven't American television incorporated them? Why haven't these streaming companies incorporated these animations of the book? Now, I know me speaking this out loud, somebody is going to take the initiative to look into it and probably do it. And my hat's off to you. I can't wait, right? I got Beyond You TV, a streaming platform, and I can't do everything. So we already have shows that we're recording and we're doing, and it's going in the right direction. But, it's a good question. Maybe somebody will take the initiative to take the Sumerian tablets and turn that into an animation. And I'm going to tell you right now, Netflix and some of these companies are going to push back on you, but you always got room over at Beyond You TV once you get it done. You understand? Come on over. We can't wait to break bread with you, and you're going to get the most bread over here. Because I'm giving up 90% and I'm taking 10%. And a lot of companies are not going to do that, right? They didn't have nothing to do with the production of your idea, and yet they want more than 90%. I mean, they want more than 10%. Nah, beloved. Come on over here with your television show. Take 90%, bro. We'll work it out. Hit me up.
In cuneiform into clay tablets. These tablets covered a wide variety of subjects, including personal and business letters, receipts, legal matters, hymns and prayers, stories, and diary-type records of daily events. Many of these tablets were incorporated into libraries, which survived intact. Such writings testify to the existence of a highly sophisticated society busy with all the activities of an intelligent and worldly people. Although a patriarchal society, they treated women with respect and granted them high social status.
Stop. This is a true sidebar, because I don't need to stop my show for this, but I think it needs to be said. Where we're at right now, again, shows our primitiveness on how we would treat the vessels that bring life into this world. I think this primitive way of thinking is actually a engineered way of thinking by another species. I can't say if it's the reptilians or not, but I strongly do think it could be, because they're not like us, like Kendrick Lamar said, and they would do anything to jeopardize our true and continuous growth on this planet, our potential, our true potential, and our continuous growth on this planet by continuing to infiltrate humanity with its ridiculous ways of living. When I say ridiculous, what I'm saying is things that go against nature. I.e., we have business down here on this planet, right? Everything is a business. You make music, you make a painting, they're going to turn it into a business. Well, we made music. They're going to turn it into a business. For some reason, the people that own the distribution for the music, they've decided what message that the artists themselves should be giving. They've interjected themselves into the creativity of one's artwork. So this is behavioral engineering right off the top, right? Because that's not the artwork you want to create, but they're not paying for the art, the honest artwork that you want to create. If you really want some money for doing what you want, then you would have to compromise yourself. This is what you think, right? Instead of waiting for your audience, there's an audience out there that's waiting for you. But what most people do is they get involved, right? And what do the governors of these places of spiritual wickedness really want? Well, we want you to go against your humanity. Hold on, that's my sister. Hold on. Ephesians 6 and 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. I mean, I would say that those radio waves that carry our music is pretty high, right? If you can control that, right? That's pretty high. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye know ye be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Okay. Now, that is not the original translation. Let me read it again. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the governors, against the powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world. See, they keep playing with you. They keep playing with you and keep forcing you to accept information that they edited by force. Meaning if you didn't want to do it because you knew the true history, they would kill you and your family. This has been done. They keep playing with you. And then they're going to hide the other information, and you will never learn of it. It's out there. So by the time you run across a channel like mine and somebody saying something that you've never heard, I sound like the crazy one. Because surely, if I was telling the truth, you would have heard about it. But who is Shirley is the real question. So you got this spiritual wickedness in high places. They run the music. They intervene and say, hey, you people that like that music over there, take off your clothes a little bit more. Why you women? That's what the people want to see. They tell us things that sound like it makes sense. I guess people do want to see nakedness. Well, yeah, if the human being is operating out of his animalistic base energy, which most of them are, because we've lost our true sense of spirituality because there's no one really teaching that. They're teaching dogmatic law in these religions. That's what they teach. Sorry, but not sorry. So they've taken and abstracted what they wanted from these older civilizations, but they didn't really give you the virtue. They didn't give you the meat and potatoes. They gave you what they could control you with. Oh, they could teach you about your energy centers in your bodies in these dogmatic religions. They could. They could truly tell you how your anatomy works and what's good to eat and what frequencies to stay away from. They're not going to do it. They'd rather just call you a sinner because they didn't teach you how to not operate out of your animalistic urges anyway, or try not to operate out of them as best as possible. They know what they teach you. You're going to end up out here on somebody's porn site operating out of that any old way, because what they have given you is not truly inspired you to really want to be a better spiritual person. They have not even allowed you to know the true potential you have as a Homo sapien. Why would they teach you that? Then you wouldn't need them anymore. That don't make sense. Do it? No? Okay. We're not teaching you that. They've gone against all natural, innate behavior. And the Elohim said, let us make man in our own image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish in the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon earth. So the Elohim created man in their image, and the image of the Elohim created he here. Male and female created he them. And the Elohim blessed them, and the Elohim said unto them, be fruitful, which means have sex, beloved, get busy, knock boots, and multiply. Don't just have sex, but have sex with the intention of procreating and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish in the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So, the instructions is there, beloved. What am I saying? What I'm saying is I could do without all your comments about being how you say it? Scared of homosexuals? What's the word you use? some word term you guys use to build about being scared of homo. Why am I scared of homosexuals? Because I'm telling you why I believe we was created and the natural innate behavior of the opposite sexes attracting and procreating. I don't think this is I don't think this is our behavior to be homosexual. I think this is a behavior that has been engineered and taught to us by another species specifically to interrupt us as Homo sapiens sapiens for their benefit, not you and ours. That's what I believe. Does it mean I hate you and I hate all homosexuals? Well, that's what you heard. Mainly that's what you heard out of ego and pride. Because you feel like I'm judging you. Beloved, I'm not judging you, right? Take yourself out your feelings. And I'm saying what I believe, which is here, which makes sense to me. Otherwise, I think the instructions would have said, yo, y'all just get out there and have a frenzy. Get busy. Stick it in any hole you can find. A construction hole, a mouse hole. Not only did it not say that, but it also suggested not only did it not say that, oh, I'm way too far. Right here. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat at the gate of Sodom. Again, I don't know why Lot is sitting at the gate. I have no idea. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. Obviously, Lot knows who these 2 angels are. The word is out. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house. Meaning his house, right? He's talking like he got big status in his community. You understand? Like, yo, don't nobody mess with your boy. I'm out here. You staying at my house. You understand? I got it like that. Usually that's what that means. Somebody tell you they got it like that. They got it like that. You'll come over and stay at my house. I don't know what's going on, right? He said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go your ways, they said. Nay, but we will abide in the streets all night. We don't really know you like that, beloved. You coming on kind of strong. You understand? We good. You understand? We are masters of self-defense, like Preem said, me and my nephew, Prince, are masters of self-defense. This is what he said to little Preem. We don't want nothing to do with what you got going on. It's right here. Lot not taking no for an answer. Why not? I don't know. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned into him and entered into his house. And he made them a feast and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. Okay, beloved, you know what I'm saying? It's not as bad as I thought it might be. I'm still on point. You understand? But before they lay down, the men of the city, oh God. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? And these are homosexuals, faggots, some may say, looking for other men. Bati boys, right here. Right, yes. Huh? Bati boys, in the Bible. Right there, so. Right there, so. The boy, look, the take man bati. Right there, so. Okay. Bring them out unto us that we may know them. Oh, God. Yeah. Jesus Christ. This is filth in here. This is filth in here. What are you talking about? They got Bati boys running around the streets of Sodom looking to take man Bati. Jesus Christ. Bun and peas. All right. And Lot went out the door unto them and shut the door after him, right? So Lot, I don't know why you stay in this town, beloved. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you, bro. You understand? There's rental spots all over the city and all that, and you stay in a town full of homosexuals. How low was this rent? And it's not even a town of homosexuals, right? Because you could stay in Greenwich Village. And it's pretty nice in Greenwich Village. I'm not going to hold you. But if you stay in a town of aggressive homosexuals like that, want to take my body and all them things, that's different, bro. I'm not staying in a town with aggressive... You just walking down the street, yo. You're wilding. Find somewhere else to stay, bro. Anyway, Lot knew these people. They had him under pressure, so he sneaks out the house with the silent voice. It says, and Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him, right? So he goes out, hey, guys, please, guys, not to... He's talking that simp talk. I said, I pray you, brethren, do not do wickedly, right? He's wilding. Please, I know, guys, not tonight. Please, man. Please, for my sake, these are my guests. Behold now, I have 2 daughters which have not known man. He is tripping. Lot is a sucker. Let's just keep it 1,000. Lot is a sucker. Nobody's doing this except Lot. Nobody is doing this except him, bro. He's what we would call in the urban areas a bitch ass. Yes. He says, behold now, I have 2 daughters which have not known men. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and ye do to them as good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. For all I know, Lot was trying to poison these men and take their body for himself. For all I know, he was a wicked man too. You understand? He's in there planning ridiculous things to do to these men after they finish, take some wine and stuff. He's giving out his daughters to aggressive homosexuals. Anyway, they're not interested in his fishy smelling daughters, right? They said, stand back, right? So they said, come on to the blood clot, we my youth. For me lick your blood clot. Come out. Eh? So they said, stand back. They say again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs to be a judge. Now we will deal worse with thee than to them. Told you, they're not playing, right? Probably got a machete in one hand. You see, Uno? You see, Uno? Make me cut your blood clean, right? And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. So these are aggressive homosexuals nonetheless. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door, because Lot is an idiot, right? So they're like, yo, what you doing, blood? Yo, I don't even know why you invited me here, you know what I'm saying? You's a bitch ass nigga. That's number one. If I knew you was a bitch ass, I wouldn't even came here to eat. You can't stop them. But they with the shits. No, regardless, these two dudes, you're not gonna find two dudes just roaming around the earth that confident and don't have master of self-discipline and master of the arts and all that. They know what they know. They don't need to prove to nobody what they know. If you came in looking for a problem, bro, you're gonna find it today. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides, son-in-law, and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place, right? So he's like, yo, you got fam? Right now would be a good time to take your family and go, bro. Instead of offering up your daughters, their virginity, to these homosexuals. How about you take what little family you got left? Because I assure you, they're going to know today. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of who? The Lord. And the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. Let's see if you guys know who the Lord was. Uncle Andy, who was the Lord? He's tripping. Facts, Boondocks. Facts. You guys know who the Lord was? Homophobic was the word I was looking for, Lee Mickles. Thank you. They always say that when you don't agree. Like you judging them. And nobody's judging you. I'm just telling you what, that's not our culture. That's not our culture. You may want to think it's our culture because you're like, yo, either one, you didn't have no, anything could have happened that made you homosexual, right? You could have been molested. That could have caused to influence you. Not saying that maliciously. And I don't say that to trigger you unnecessarily. I'm just saying what could have happened. That's one possibility. Two, you could have just naturally been born attracted to the same sex. Why? Because information is passed on through procreation. Did you understand that? So when you tell someone, hey, I don't understand why I'm attracted to the same sex, I just am, they don't believe you. Because they have not done the science and the knowledge to understand that information is passed on within DNA. And yes, maybe someone in your bloodline before was behaviorally engineered. What I'm telling you is not for you to catch offense. It is for you to understand that maybe you was purposely engineered to get involved in this behavior. It is out of your hands now. I'm not here to ridicule you and put shame on your life. What I'm telling you, though, I don't also think could be refuted according to this here and just natural life, is that I don't think that is our natural culture. These are infiltrators, beloved. So don't call me homophobic. Now, they could be talking about Yahweh when they say the Lord has sent us to destroy this place. They could be talking about Yahweh. Is Yahweh the God? He could be a God. right? They didn't really have respect for Yahweh in this Bible. They didn't even give him no land, blood. They gave him the seed of Jacob, which is disgusting when you really think about it. Want your goddamn seed all over me, bitch? Huh? What you doing? Keep your seed to yourself and give me some property like you gave everybody else. They say Yahweh's portion was Jacob's seed. Disgusting. Disgusting. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, and which married his daughters, and said, Up! Get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto the sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angel hastened Lot, saying, Arise, come out, let's come on. Cha, move your ass, blood clot, leave your ass, right? Morning came, Lot still bullshitting around, sleeping late. Nigga, homosexuals tried to take your body last night, and you comfortable like that? You wildin', Lot. You are wildin', blood. He said, Get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in iniquity. So it is not me that is homophobic. This is an ancient book that says that this was iniquity. So why would you try to make me feel bad? Yo, you homophobic, bro. Bro, I don't care. You understand? I don't care. But the book said you involved in iniquities. Don't go too deep. That yo. Pause. Boondocks. I'm there, but most people not gonna be there because we didn't get there even in the understanding of things. You understand? Surface level, not boondocks. Don't. That requires a whole nother conversation, boondocks. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth, and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And the Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in the saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold, now the city is near to flee unto, and unto the little one. Oh, let me escape thither, and my soul shall live. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. Well, listening to this story, I can't help but to derived to the conclusion that the city was pretty much destroyed because of these men's actions. And what was their actions? Was it because they was aggressive? They destroyed a whole city of a couple of homosexuals? You understand? Sometimes people get drunk and they get all riled up. I've never been in Greenwich Village when a bunch of homosexuals are riled up, running through Greenwich Village, just taking Manbati. I've never been there. Inshallah, I never will. You understand? But is that cause for to burn down the whole Greenwich Village? No. I think what happened was, beloved, this behavior was not of mankind anyway. It was not of your natural. You've gotten outside of yourself. You understand? And I don't know why the Lord did it, but it looks like he wanted to eradicate this type of behavior. Now, two things. One, I started in the earlier Genesis, in the first chapter, where it spoke of God creating man, and he never mentioned two bros getting together and doing whatever you guys are doing. Neither did he mention two sisters getting together and doing what you guys are doing. So, I take offense when you guys try to tell me I'm homophobic. Like, that's disrespectful to me and the culture of the Homo sapiens sapien. It is not our true culture. It is not. It's not our true culture.
They even permitted the practice of polyandry for a time, in which women could have multiple husbands, before that convention was eventually outlawed. Widows were allowed to remarry without condemnation.
Before I continue, the reason I brought all of that up was to say that the people that own these airwaves and these music streaming, they don't have any problem with us getting up here disrespecting our music. Our women, right? So the word bitch is thrown around a lot. And within this series, you're going to hear some things that are going to sound far-fetched. But one of the things you will hear for sure is how much influence the female had first, before the male. Whether we will believe these things is different, right? But nonetheless, I'm saying that I don't like it because this is the same being that brings life into the earth. Yeah, they use our seed. It takes two beings to procreate. It's definitely not male and male. Not naturally. Yaakov is out here on some different business. Right? So don't never mind what type of diabolical scientific nonsense that the devil comes up with nowadays. Because maybe a guy could have a baby now. Is it natural? No. But the fact that they went on that campaign most recently for 4 years and tried to indoctrinate our youth to go against their own humane culture, humane and innate ability to love the opposite sex and behavioral and biologically engineer us into becoming homosexuals is crazy, number one. Right? I'm talking about you got to find that crazy even if you yourself are homosexual. You got to find that diabolical. Even if you yourself are a homosexual and haven't gotten down at some point in your life, you got to be like, yeah, but let's not push that on the youth, right? If you don't find that crazy to go into a first, second, third grade classroom and try to convince local youth them to become homosexuals, then I must question you. I have to. Right? You want to talk about all type of other silly shit, right? Yo, but I'm saying Elon Musk this and Trump this and he's a racist. Yo. Shut your blood cleat, my youth. They had people going into the classrooms, confusing the local youth. You're wild and crazy for arguing and not seeing why we have to protect these little babies. And if you're not for us, you against us. But one thing is for sure, is that I am enlightening the people to an understanding that we are not down here by ourselves, right? Because the few that have been able to articulate it are either dead or locked up. I'm not saying that I don't support any of the charges that Dr. York was brought up on. None of them. I don't support any of the charges. It's not my speed. If they are in fact true. I know I said I was going to get the actual paperwork for his case is what I need to do. If they are in fact true. But one thing I do know is that he had a plethora of knowledge and he had found ability for it to work, right? He like what he was doing, he was manifesting like a god does. He was manifesting the thoughts that was in his head, and he had thought of a place to build in Georgia and actually built it. Like, oh snap, what's going on here? And I think, okay, these people are watching. If he could do that, we got to stop him now before he really releases and then it releases the secrets and enlightens the people of the capabilities, what they're capable of. So next thing you know, he's brought up on all type of charges. They not charges that I'm going to stand with, or most people in their righteous mind would stand next to. So they leave him in jail, rot to die. His history is tarnished. And we've seen this playbook quite a few times. They even do it to their own kind if they don't like you. But we've seen it quite a few times. Now, I don't know what Bill Cosby was about to prove when trying to buy NBC, but I think he's learned his lesson, because you have not heard from Bill Cosby since he's been released. He's been so quiet and upset at the world that people don't even know he's out of jail. You understand? He's not coming out to eat dinner and you don't see him in the tablet. Nothing, bro. He's had enough of this world. Well, your first mistake was believing that we was all Homo sapiens down here. These people have had hundreds of thousands of years head start on us. So how you thought you was about to? Nah, beloved, they told you not to buy NBC and just go about your business, my youth. Go about something else. And you didn't want to listen, and they threw you in jail with all type of pervert allegations. You out here, they said you was drugging 50. Do I believe that? I don't, William Cosby. I don't. It don't matter what I believe though. 50 women? Nah. You see the one that finally brought you down? She looked like an old Ukrainian blacksmith, Lord. It's no way in the world you drugged her and did that. But it don't matter. What matters is the perception. They have the voice. They have the power to perpetuate the ideas across these radio waves. And you learned the hard way. And this is why I say, sometimes I don't ask you to hit the like button. I don't need more people over here. If you hear by choice. I don't need to speed up. Once they find out I'm over here teaching they hate what I'm teaching already. They don't like it. Now, if I become real popular, guess what? All of a sudden, I end up in Honduras jail cell for having $10,000 and I disappear forever. You get it? And I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. But that don't mean I'm going to rush my demise. So you take what knowledge I give you over here. And then you too will spread the knowledge amongst your people. But everybody don't need to be famous. And everything I do ain't for the likes and the grow my channel. Yo, this is their contraption, beloved. This is theirs. You know what I'm saying? Let them. I like building with the like-minded energy and coming over here and building with y'all. That's what I like doing a lot of times. They taking advantage anyway. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not worried about it. You're going to see what I do with my platform. They taking advantage. They taking the most and giving everybody crumbs. Right? My platform, I'm going to be giving people what they truly worth. You went out and shot something and you did this and this, that. What? I'm going to take more than 50% and all of this. That is ridiculousness. This is your creation. You deserve it. Right? I'm just giving you a platform to put it on. Give me 10%, beloved. Keep 90%. You don't get nothing. You're not going to get that that nowhere on earth. Unless you did it yourself, and that's 100%. But truth be told, I'm going to have more legway than you because I'm going to have a bunch of people showing their shows. So when they come over to see that show, they can also see your show. Instead of you just working by yourself. But a lot of times we don't know how to work together, right? Why? Because I think it's also something in our innate behavior that makes us want to be the man, right? You got to be the one. I'm not doing anything with him. That's what I came to somebody with the idea, and before we even got off the phone, he was like, I just do it myself. Do it yourself then, beloved. Do it yourself then. You understand? You cannot do anything by yourself. What are you talking about? You could beat off by yourself. That's all you could do. Get Jacob's seed all over your hand. That's all you could do. We talk about you're going to do it yourself. It's a crazy way of thinking, but that's how we think. Let's continue on. How much time we got? We got 15 minutes. Let's go.
Such writings testify to the existence of a highly sophisticated society busy with all the activities of an intelligent and worldly people. Although a patriarchal society, they treated women with respect and granted them high social status. They even permitted the practice of polyandry for a time, in which women could have multiple husbands, before that convention was eventually outlawed. Widows were allowed to remarry without condemnation. Their legal system was humane and fair, attempting to respect individual rights and freedoms while maintaining law and order. As early as 4600 BCE, the Sumerians had developed a complex system of measurements and mathematics, including arithmetic, geometry, and algebra. Their pottery displayed intricate artistic designs, and they were very fond of music, especially played on stringed instrument called lyres. The word lyre suggests that it originated on Lyra, the original home world of the Martians. At its height, the Sumerian population reached about 1 million. There had been a human colony in Sumer prior to the arrival of the Martians. The human civilization in the Middle East was created by the Hatona Council about 40,000 years earlier, as previously explained in Chapter 7, and had begun to spread throughout the area. The Martians were viewed as gods by the humans when they arrived. They did interbreed with the humans, thus explaining the biblical phrase in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. The sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. In the Ugaritic text of the Bible, this phrase reads, sons of the gods, rather than sons of God. This is an important distinction. It suggests that since the humans in Sumer viewed the Martians as gods, their sons were the ones referred to in this text. It makes sense that their offspring would be mighty men, since their genetic makeup probably did not include the full reptilian DNA contributed by the humans. This miscegenation was only possible because both races were basically human, and thus were able to produce human offspring. It was only after the arrival of the Martians that the Sumerian civilization blossomed and became truly civilized. There is some evidence that the Martian spaceships first landed at Baalbek in northern Lebanon. This is the site of an ancient temple built with huge blocks, some weighing 800 tons, believed to have been built around 9,000 years earlier. The Romans built their temple of Jupiter on top of this original structure and founded the city of Heliopolis there. Evidently, the Sumerians knew about the flood that had destroyed Atlantis. 4 clay tablets recently discovered make reference to that deluge. It is unlikely that this knowledge would have been available to the primitive humans then inhabiting Sumer, and consequently this news was probably brought in by the Martians. In retrospect, it seems very likely that the Federation made the decision to settle the Martians on Earth, to maintain a human presence there, to contain the reptilians after the destruction of Atlantis. The Martians would be able to protect the human population from resurgent reptilians emerging from their underground lair. The Anunnaki. The high-tech Martians in Sumer, together with the Atlantean emigre civilization in Egypt, already then well established, dominated the entire Middle East and constituted a strong human presence on the planet, well able to keep the reptilians from surface encroachments in the absence of Atlantis. The protective Martian military factor was particularly important in northern Iraq. It was known that a Stargate existed at Uruk, somewhere north of what is now Baghdad.
So, when we look at when they went in when was it, 2003, the American government, and they went into Baghdad, somewhere around there. If you look at what they went after, it is kind of puzzling. Like initially, as soon as they got in, they went after the museums and the ancient artifacts, and some say even searching for a Stargate that they thought was there or knew was there or whatever. Do I believe in Stargates? Yes, I do. Do I think they're heavily protected? Yes, I do. Right? The chances of me finding a Stargate is going to be slim to none because I'm not out here looking for that type of energy. Right? I don't want nothing to do with it. If you know where one is at for sure. But it just seems like there's always some type of detriment when I follow the stories of the people who found these Stargates. And then the American government finds out that there's a Stargate there, and then it's never good. It's never good. But I do believe the Stargates exist.
And it was feared that the Anunnaki could come through in numbers when their homeworld, Nibiru, passed close to Earth, and could upset the established human civilization. While the Anunnaki were also of reptilian origin, they were not allied in any way with the Draco-Orionite reptilians, who were living underground in deep caverns. Regardless, the Martians wanted nothing to do with the Anunnaki, or with any reptilian group. Consequently, the establishment of a militarized zone around the Stargate was justified to prevent the Anunnaki from coming through when Nibiru made its next pass in its 3,600-year journey around our sun. However, while the Anunnaki might have no longer been a threat, the reptilians themselves, safe in their deep underground world, were already beginning to plan their takeover of the surface world.
Did that time come up? Did that time come up and pass? Right? Would we have known if Nibiru did already circulate? Somebody's blasting DOS effects behind me and it's getting on my nerves. His speakers are crazy, right? I don't even think that's DOS effects. It sounds like Al Scratch. Give me a second. I just need a moment. Oh, it's Mad Lion. And he has diplomatic plates. Give me a second. I just want this light to turn green. That's it. I just want the light to turn green. I don't want to talk over Matt Lion. I don't want to. Either he turns down his music or the light turns green. I just want to wait. Or he could just go. Thank you. Let him go, bro. He's on a whole different frequency right now. Nobody else on Earth is on that frequency. Just him. Not even Mad Lion. Mad Lion is somewhere right now with an apron on making little cheese balls in his kitchen. He's out here in 1995 time. All right, let's go. Jesus, that got on my nerves.
They were in no hurry. If there is one thing the reptilians have plenty of,
It's patience.
it is patience.
That's a fact.
10. The Rebellion. The rulership of the faraway colonies in the Sol solar system was tenuous at best. It had fallen to the Wolfen Series.
Oh. Let's not go too far. Let's not go too far. I think that ends today's show, in all actuality. That ends today's show. I know you said you can't hear it much. I heard it, and I didn't want to speak over. I didn't want to speak over it, right? It was annoying to my cognitive abilities. It's annoying to my cognition. But that is my 2-hour show. So today I gave you 4 hours. So what can we expect? You really wasn't supposed to get this show until tomorrow. So tomorrow, what we're going to discuss now is, let's just go back to how all of this started anyway. Why do the Lyrians have beef with the Draco in the first place? Meaning, why do the Martians and the Atlanteans even have beef with the Draco reptilians? And I think it'd be good if we start that tomorrow. I'm not coming back today. I only came back to piss off the powers that be, because I seen them really hating on my content. So I said, let's keep going. Right? They tried to sabotage the past few shows. I said, I must be saying something right if you're trying that hard to sabotage the content. So, that being said, I'm gonna go get a little bit of lunch. And I'll see you guys here tomorrow. And I hope you're taking notes when he be giving the resources and stuff like that, so you can go look these things up. But I can tell you for a fact, with this particular series, you will get a good amount of knowledge that you might not have gotten before. Not all of it is speculative. Not everything he says is speculative. Some of this stuff actually happened with documentation that we could go back and confirm. Alright, so again, peace to everybody that did come over, participate in the program. You understand? I like your energy. Thank you for, helping me do this show, believe it or not, because your energy helps us do the show. Shout out to Boondocks. By the way, that's the only, I call them Boondocks, but it's the only avatar I ever seen that don't got like no words. It's like usually somebody got a name. He has no name at all. Just a picture of the dude from the Boondocks. So that's why I say Boondocks. Shout out to Uncle Andy. I think Big TTV came over. Shout out to Big TTV. Not sure if Spitfire came back. Shout out to Spitfire. I'm not sure who really came back from the first show. Lee Mickles was in the building. Shout it out. And everybody in the bushes, you understand? I got some Mount Vernon OGs that sit in the bushes. They hit me up every once in a while. They pay attention to what I'm doing. Shout out to all the people from Westchester, Mount Vernon, New York. 914, White Plains, New Rochelle, Peekskill, Hartsdale, Scarsdale, Tuckahoe, Valhalla, Rye, Yonkers, Caramel, New York, shout out to Upstate, Fishkill, Beacon, Wappinger Falls, Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, shout it out. Alright, that being said, hope y'all enjoyed the show. Catch y'all tomorrow. Peace out.